got me. You have
Oh,
me?
thank
There
goodness.
we
Yes,
go.
you're back. How are you?
Said it's nice to see Josh at the big boy table.
Uh-huh. They
Yeah.
called me up.
We let him play.
It only takes 2 people to be missing for me to get the call. Actually, probably more than that if we do it all. But I'm here, and I'm happy to be talking to you, Adam.
Adam Schefter, we have a question for you about the Packers working out Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Now, I did a feature on Dorian Thompson-Robinson back in the day. Lovely young man. What exactly do you think the Packers are working on here? Do you think that there is a market for Malik Willis and they are just preparing themselves if, in fact, they decide to trade him? How did you read this?
I read it as the fact that here was a guy that's been around the league who has some skills and talents, who's available, and you go and work him out. Like, I don't think it's reflective of them looking to deal Malik Willis. Like, they're not trying to be cute or get disruptive on anything right now. This is a team that has built up a really strong roster. What are we trying to get cute for? Like, I just think here's a guy that they probably were intrigued by. He's got a skill set that they kind of like. You go work him out and maybe add him to your practice squad. I don't think it's anything more than that. I'm not looking for any meaning into working out Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Last night, Jayden Reed informed us that he had both successful surgery on his collarbone and in his foot, which would lead us to believe it was, in fact, the Jones fracture. Is the 6 to 8 week timeline still realistic there, or do we think the foot portion of it may have added some extra time for Jayden Reed to return?
You know what's interesting about that is that I had heard over the summer that he needed foot surgery, and clearly he decided against it. But when you break the collarbone and you have to have it operated on, and you're going to be sidelined for however many weeks it is, well, you might as well go 2 for 1 and take care of 2 problems while you're laid up. And so that, I'm sure, is what he wound up doing. Like, he figured he could play through the foot injury, get around it, and it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But being that you're going to be operated on anyway, okay, let's see if we get the 2 for 1 special. You know, you get 50 off on the foot because they're doing the collarbone too, or whatever it may be. But you're out anyway, so you might as well get everything right so that you come back full strength.
I said that, the old BOGO. Buy one, get one. You know, since I'm here, maybe we take care of this as well. Adam, you were also talking about the tush push. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers were the team that presented that. It did not get passed. Where do you stand on the tush push? Again, thrusted into the conversation after the Eagles-Chiefs game.
Well, you know, I guess I said some things like the Chiefs or the Eagles won that game on Sunday when the play was not overturned at the owners' meetings in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an anti-tush push statement. That's, to me, a fact. Like, when the play was kept in the game, the Eagles' chances of winning these games improved. They're a better team when they could run that play because they've mastered the play. Nobody can stop the play. That's not a criticism of the play. That's not saying that the Eagles didn't make other plays that helped them win the game, that they're talented, that they don't deserve flowers else. But that play is dominant. Defenses don't know what to do with it. Officials don't seem like they know what to do with it. Nobody knows what to do with it except the Philadelphia Eagles, who have mastered it. That's not criticism. That's not anything that's debatable. That's just a reality. That's where we are. They've mastered it, and nobody else has. So they have an advantage that nobody else does. Good for them. That's the way it is. And we'll see where the conversation goes. I'm sure it's going to come up again in the offseason. We'll see how that works out. But to their credit, they've mastered that play.
Have you heard, or do you think any of those owners that voted against banning it are regretting it after seeing the false starts and the lining up in the neutral zone that became such a focus of the conversation last weekend?
I don't know if they regret it, Josh. I think that everybody's kind of monitoring it and paying attention to it. It was an issue last offseason. I'm going to guess, based on the reaction that we've experienced through the early part of the season, that it's going to be an issue again this offseason. And I've always felt like that usually the league is pretty good at getting what it wants, whatever that means. And so if the league and Roger Goodell want this play out of the game, eventually my guess is that's what it'll be. But right now, it's legal. And as long as it's legal, that play poses a major threat to the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, the LA Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and every team that plans to challenge, contend, and compete with the Philadelphia Eagles for a spot in the Super Bowl.
Adam Schefter on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy is brought to you by Tony Wendorf and Associates. Just like their moves made in the pros, Tony Wendorf and Associates' First Weber Group helps people make their own big moves every day. Trusted knowledge, superior service. They're the real estate MVPs of Wisconsin. If you're looking to buy or sell a house, make the move and get in touch with Tony Wendorf and Associates.
Adam Schefter joining Jen, Gabe, and Chewy as he does each and every Wednesday. Adam, the a lot of Tom Brady news over the past week or so. I want to begin with this Saudi Arabian league that he is sort of putting together, this tournament that he is putting together. It's now I saw that CeeDee Lamb has gotten permission to join this. Do you see this being something that happens year in and year out, or do you just think that this is a one-off? Because I get nervous, I'm going to be honest with you, if my players are playing in these sort of out-of-season tournaments, exhibitions where there's a chance they could get injured, especially when the league is invested, the team's invested so much money in these guys. Where do you stand on this thing going forward?
It's funny because I posted about it on Monday night, and I was a little bit surprised at the reaction that it generated. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb, but here are some of the other names that are participating in it. Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Max Crosby, Rob Gronkowski, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett, others. There are coaches going, Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan. So my first thought when I heard this and posted about it on Monday was, how much money are these guys being paid to go to Saudi Arabia in March to take part in the Flag Football League? Like that is, I think, 2 weeks after free agency, about 10 days agency. Not that those players will be involved in it. Not that those coaches are concerned about it with their front offices running it. But my guess is that there's some real money that's involved to make this happen. Like you see Saudi Arabia, you see fanatics, and you see the people involved, and you're like, this is going to be a big money venture. Like I'll just say this, like Fanatics Fest that they put on every year, they do a great job, and they put some major money into that every year. So if it's in Saudi Arabia with all these people, that's what's going on again. Do I think it's going to turn into something? I think that they try it out initially, Jen. They see how the first year goes, and then they say, okay, either it's successful or it's not, or we are determined to build this into something successful over time. We're going to do it every year or not. I don't know what its future is, being that I haven't seen the event. I haven't seen it take place. All I know is I'm sure there's some real financial backing behind it that if they decide they want to do it, would give it a chance.
But teams can say no, right? Like that's the thing. Most of these players' contracts, I'm sure, have verbiage that state. Go ahead.
It depends on what they're doing. Like again, I always go back to the former Patriot running back Robert Edwards, I think he won Rookie of the Year one year, and I was at the Pro Bowl, and literally right outside my hotel, he's on the beach playing a flag football game of some sort, and he tore up his entire knee on the beach, and never was the same player ever again. So I'm sure these guys are going to be pretty smart about what they are and aren't doing. Look, the league is pushing for flag football in the Olympics in LA. So, and the league is backing that, right? So you can't be the league and back Olympic football, flag football, and say, okay, we really want this to happen. We believe it's safe, but you can't do it in Saudi Arabia when you're being paid to do it, right? It can't go both ways, right? If you want your players to participate in flag football, well, then they should be allowed to participate in flag football.
Adam, who do you think has been the most impressive team through 2 weeks and the most disappointing?
Well, it's 2 weeks, because last year the New Orleans Saints might have been the most impressive team after 2 weeks, and a lot of them over the course of the season. So I think you just have to keep it in perspective. But through 2 weeks, the Green Bay Packers have been the most impressive team in football. They look like they're performing at another level. Again, the Saints were last year, didn't turn into much, didn't even make the playoffs. So it's just 2 weeks. But the Packers have been great so far, really impressive. Disappointing? I mean, just take a look at any 0-2 team. Who are the 0-2 teams right now?
The Dolphins feel like the leader in that clubhouse.
Dolphins, Saints, Bears,
Browns.
I mean, honestly, any 0-2 team and say, like, this is disappointing because nobody wants to be in that spot.
Well, the Bears certainly could be a candidate there, given all of the excitement, the Ben Johnson, they were going to turn things around. Like, that certainly could be something you argue.
You can make a case for any 0-2 team. Give me the 0-2 teams, and we'll give you a reason as to why they're disappointing. Like for any 0-2
Okay,
team, any.
how about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Oh,
Oh, okay, by the way, they should be much better, right? Like, so you could say that they're the most disappointing because they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid and had a chance to win against the Chargers, had a chance to win against the Eagles, and now are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. First time Patrick Mahomes, who turns 30 years old today, by the way. Happy birthday, Patrick. First time in his NFL career that Patrick Mahomes ever has lost 3 straight games. Never had done it before, now has. That's got to be very disappointing to the Chiefs.
Last thing I have for you, Adam Schefter, is this Tom Brady saga with him, of course, being a minority owner of the Raiders and then, of course, being on the broadcast team for Fox. There's a lot of conversation about this being a conflict of interest, the information that he gathers on these Zoom meetings, because apparently he's not doing the meetings in person. Where do you stand on that? Do you think Tom Brady is gaining an advantage by being able to get information at these production meetings, albeit virtual, and then passing that information on to his cohorts that are running the Raiders?
Jen, I think you've probably been a part of production meetings, right? So
Plenty of them.
I would say if you are a part of production meetings, which I've been allowed to be involved in only in a few over the course of my 35 plus years covering the NFL. But when I did sidelines for NFL Network, I did some of these meetings. And by the way, when I did sidelines for NBA games on ESPN, we would do some meetings with coaches. It always blew me away. 30 minutes, an hour before the game, you're sitting there talking about, what's going to happen. I was like, wow, this is incredible. But I think that information, all that information, is an advantage for anybody to hear, which is why they do those meetings. Now, I don't think that Tom Brady is going to hear something in those meetings. This is me. This is like, oh boy, this team doesn't think much of its own player. We're going to try to trade for him. Or this team thinks this guy's going to be a superstar. We're going to try to trade for him. And you know what? If there's something there that is so sensitive, that team shouldn't be sharing it with Tom and his team in the production meeting. So I understand the image and the perception that exists. I got it. There's a lot of people that are sensitive about it, understandably so. Me, I look at it a different way. I think people get worked up over this a little bit more than they should. I think, but then again, let me give you an example. I was saying this to a coach in the league. I go, hey, Tom Brady's pretty professional. You think he's going to go take something and use that to his advantage? He goes, well, what would you say about Spygate and Deflategate? I'm like, okay, well, that's how some people feel. I can't argue with that. Those things happen. But I just don't think that what are you going to hear in that production meeting, Jen, that you think you're going to turn around and give to the Raiders that's going to be a huge advantage to that team? You tell me.
Well, the
what do
only
you
thing
think?
I can think of right now, and again, I'm certain that there are things. To your point, you have to probably be judicious with what you're sharing with any broadcast, and we saw that, Josh, you were just referencing. Matt LaFleur regretted mentioning to the Fox broadcast that he prayed whenever the kicker went out there. Was that Anders Carlson? And I was at Auburn yesterday, by the way. Whenever Anders Carlson would go out there, he would pray, and then Tom Rinaldi reported that in a sideline hit, and Matt LaFleur regretted having shared that sort of tongue-in-cheek comment with the reporter. So there are certainly aspects where that happens with just the regular media, the rest of us out there. But I wonder about injuries. A lot of these coaches sort of keep that stuff very close to the vest, but they may tell the broadcast team so that those guys can prep for the backups, right? Because a lot of times your depth of knowledge only goes so far, and you maybe you don't have nuggets or details or info on the third guy on the depth chart. But if he's thrust into action, sometimes you get a heads up from the team that that's going to be the case going forward. And again, I don't know how that affects it going forward. I just think the whole thing is fascinating. I think it's so interesting that we have this sort of sweet spot where the broadcaster and the minority owner are the same person.
Look, I would say this. I've always viewed it on the rare times that I've got to sit in production meetings. It's a privilege to me. It's a privilege to be that privy and have access to that much information. And I also know that when you're sitting down with those people, or whether I'm on the phone with a head coach or a GM or an assistant coach, that they get to say what they want. They're not going to tell me everything all the time. They're not going to say, hey, we're thinking about making this huge trade of Micah Parsons. Okay? They don't want me to know certain things. And I would say it's the same thing for Tom in those production meetings. If there's something that is so sensitive that you don't want him to know, don't share it. That's all. It's not that hard. but I understand why people get worked up about it.
Adam, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Kept you a little long today, but we appreciate you. You're a pro as always. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Keep up the good work, Josh.
That's Adam Schefter. How about that?
What a shout out.
Can you clip that for Joshy?
Yeah.
We'll clip it. We're going to use it on the show. Whenever Joshy makes a salient point, we're going to play Keep Up the Good Work, Josh.
Hey guys, it's Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Thanks for watching our clip. I'm sure it was super informative and educational. I'm just kidding. I love those knuckleheads. And we do it live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get informed anytime we drop new content.